All right, guys, as you jump on board, if you want to kind of just play around with the features on the bottom of the screen, for those of you new to Zoom, you'll see a chat section down there if you want to give us a shout out. And that way we can kind of test out and make sure everything's working.
Yeah, I see 15 on board. Hello, everybody. There you go.
Okay,
Thank you.
Go. We got Christopher from Iowa. Yay.
All right.
Wow.
How's the weather in Iowa? We got to be warming up.
We got Glenda. We got Sharon from Omaha.
All right. Fantastic.
Carissa. Howdy, Carissa.
Yeah, howdy. Howdy. Warming up 50 today. Yeah, we had 50 today in Colorado. Fantastic. Getting there. Ready for spring.
Like I'm having to call my AC guy because my AC is broken and I need it.
Yeah, it's coming there. You've got probably 80 already now, don't you, Cosi?
I'm above 80. Well above 80. It's like, yay. Here we go.
Yeah. Summer's on its way. I'm ready.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Right. Welcome, everybody. Give it a few more minutes here. Let people log on. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a great show tonight. We've got Johnny V here, and he's a big participant and following Cosi. And I've got the honor of having him here in my house. And
Johnny V in the house.
Johnny V is in my house. So it's pretty awesome. He came in to do some skiing with Telluride, and just fortunately, I do some coaching and volunteering there. So this all worked out beautifully. I met Johnny last year doing a little evaluation on prosthetic stuff he had. And we hit it off. Now we're basically out there, trying to go fast. So
we're ripping it up.
12 inches of sunshine in Southern California.
Very nice.
Oh boy, I love it. I'm ready for that. I'm ready. Well, everyone, tonight is going to be a special night because we've got a really interesting guy. And I know he has followed Cosi so much in her podcasts. And
I'm one of Cosi's biggest fans.
Yeah, he's one of there you go. And talk about motivation and adversity. We're going to talk about his journey and what we're doing currently today. And for the next 3 days here, when he's, I'm graced with him here at my place. But it's an interesting story, and I think it's really the next evolution of what VitalFit's doing for us. We talk about sockets, we talk about liner, we talk about feet, but really the outcomes of individuals is what interests me, and that's my passion and staying involved in disabled sports and whatever that is, if you're a skier or whatever. But VitalFit's really allowing people to do more, and Johnny's a case of it. And I am so excited to talk about it and let him share his journey, what he's experienced, and the demands he puts on himself, and how we make it better. So
I'm excited. I've never heard Johnny's story, so this will be my first time hearing it.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Your biggest fan?
Heard bits and pieces.
Good. Awesome.
So we've got, hey, Bob from the Villages. You're a stone's throw north from me right there, Bob. And then we've got Richard from Mission, Texas. Howdy. And we got Paula from Oregon.
Yes.
I'm curious, Johnny, do you recognize any of these names on here? Because you're always on Cosi Talks here. And you see anybody you know?
I'm looking.
Does anybody know Johnny?
Carol Baker. Cosi, you know Carol Baker from Virginia, right?
Yes, I know Carol. She's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Carol's one of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, she sure is.
Awesome.
I'm on a virtual support group, FT support group with her. So
Good.
I didn't see her name. She must have snuck in. I didn't see her name there.
Yeah, she's there. She's
Carol, you gotta tell me hello. I haven't seen you in a while, darling.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, if you all know Johnny, put it in the chat box. Say hi. I got him in person here, so it's cool. So we'll let Chris want to do the introductions. I know I'm starting off without the introductions, but
that's how we roll. Absolutely. Yeah. So hello, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you here. Our topic for tonight is inspiration through storytelling. And of course, we love your thoughts and questions. So please keep them coming on the chat box, and we'll be sure to answer all your questions in the conclusion of the webinar. Before I introduce our fabulous guest tonight, I'd like to introduce our two fabulous facilitators. So Cosi Bioso is a has her master's in physical therapy. She's been in clinical practice for 17 years. She has her own clinic in Florida where she specializes in limb loss for her clients. She also has an awesome YouTube live show every Wednesday night that she's the founder and facilitator of. It's 5:30 Wednesday night, so check her out.
8:30.
So Eastern.
7:30.
Well,
5:30
sorry,
your time, Kristen.
Pacific. Sorry. 8:30 Eastern. But check her out. It's an awesome show, and she is such a gift to the community. And we're just really excited to have her here tonight. So welcome, Cosi.
Thank you. You got to use the real star tonight, right there.
Yeah. Greg Menino has been in the prosthetic industry for over 20 years. He's a certified prosthetist. He's worked with lots of manufacturers on R&D and as a clinical specialist. He's also an above the knee amputee. And Greg has medaled 22 times in the Olympics and the Paralympics in downhill alpine skiing. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
I've heard some stories.
Right? Right? And our special guest, Johnny Vaca. Johnny, I tried to mesmerize your bio, but this bandwidth is just, it's not happening here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. Johnny V is an 18-year cancer survivor. He's a below the knee amputee. He is a retired IT professional. He's a certified peer visitor for Amputee Coalition and United Spinal Association. He's also on the board of directors for Taconic Resources for Independence. He's also a facilitator for the Mid-Hudson Limb Loss Support Group. Johnny is a very passionate athlete, and this is where I'm going to cheat. He enjoys archery, biking, camping, equine, fishing, hiking, kayaking, paddleboarding, parasailing, running, skiing, skydiving, whitewater rafting, and yoga. Wow. Welcome, Johnny. Welcome.
Thank you, Kristen.
Oh, wait. He served in the military. I apologize. 1976 to 79 in the Army. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Welcome, Johnny.
I'm honored to be here. Very, very honored to be here. And I'm so happy to be on this podcast. Thank you to VitalFit, and thank you to Cosi and to Greg, for inviting me to be a part of this evening's presentation. Life is great. I'm telling you, I'm just enjoying it so much at 66, going on 67 this year, that I want to live to be 100, I'm living the dream, and, it was certainly fun to get to be where I am today. And so I met Greg Menino last year at the Telluride Adaptive Sport Program Military Week. And, I had myself a new resource for my, bag of, recovery items. And I reached out to him right away, asking him his opinion and everything. He was always very, very generous with information. And so this year, things being what they are, the pandemic making it so that, we can't do things the same way that we did them last year. Telluride was having a different military week. It was just for 3 days, and they were leaning more towards the local people because it was more challenging doing, lodging. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm going to reach out to my friend Greg and see if Greg has any ideas for me for lodging. And so Greg says, yeah, sure, I got an idea. You can stay with me and we can, go skiing together. And it was like, whoa, I mean, really? And I said, how could you not say yes to an offer like that? Especially with Greg's credentials and, what an awesome resource that he's been already, and what an awesome resource he's going to continue to be as I go forward. The person with, lower limb loss and wanting to be active and live a full life. So Greg and I, we've been skiing for the last 2 days at Telluride, and we've been having the greatest time. Greg actually pushed me a little bit further than I had been pushing myself, and he showed me a few tricks early on, yesterday, and said, Johnny, you really know how to listen here. So I think, we're going to have some fun this week. And the last 2 days have been great.
Awesome.
Yes. And that's a fact. Yeah, he's a good listener, and I'm honored to have him here. talk about a motivated individual who's been through a lot of different adversities and survivor. And, I can tell you one thing about Johnny, he loves life. And we've got a little video we're going to show here in a bit that I actually shot today. And for me, it's to see where he is at today. This is a little bit, we're jumping a little ahead. I'm sorry, I'll have to do that, people. But we can back it up. But if y'all take a look at this and try to figure out which one is his prosthesis, it's pretty interesting to me. But this is where Johnny's at today, and for somebody who is so in love with different sports and in love with life, and he's going to live to 100. I'm not nowhere close to that. But it's just, it's inspiring to be around and inspiring to see his story and listen to his story. So I'm really excited to have him here. So it's on for me to tell you the truth. So,
yeah.
No, it's
So,
a great place to be today. I'm telling you, it really is.
Right on.
And,
So Johnny's going to share a story tonight, and we've got some awesome giveaways along the way. So stay tuned for those. And Paul's going to put up a slide here that just goes over a bit of the venue tonight. So Johnny's going to share his acceptance into recovery, the power of peer support, adversity strikes again, and life is what you make it, as opportunity is always knocking. So I'm going to let you take it away, Johnny.
All right. Well, it's great to be where I am today, but honestly, it wasn't all that easy. And it was certainly some things that came up in my life that were really challenging. And the first thing was accepting the fact that I had cancer and that the treatment plan was below knee amputation. The year was 2002. And, I had to get permission, it was like this whole month of, having to accept that what I had required that amputation. When I finally made the decision, it was based on the fact that I had a 3-year-old at the time, and I wanted to, be here to see her grow up. We all have to find, something that's not going to get in our way of moving forward in our lives. And I'm so blessed, my daughter was it. And, another one of the reasons why I want to live to be 100 is so that I can be a part of her life for that period of time. So got the amputation, still wasn't easy, was subjected to, the side effects of amputation, that being neuropathy, phantom limb pain, which, I still experience, And guess what, folks? Almost 19 years later, even though we said 18, March 21st, 2002, I'm going to be celebrating my anniversary,
19 years.
So it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. And, the resources that I came up with on this journey, I think were, certainly all some good, some bad. Let's face it, prosthetics. It's not always easy, it's very, very challenging, especially if, the person that you're working with, isn't really making a good connection with you. No different than any other healthcare professional. That's pretty exciting.
Right. And can I ask you a question about that?
Absolutely.
What's really interesting to me is if you had something to advise at this moment for somebody who had an amputation due to, cancer or traumatic accident, what advice would you give at this moment that you remember 18 years ago? Granted, you had challenges with prosthetic care, and I think that a lot of people experience that, challenges overcoming that. But what would be that first thing you would say to get your head straight? Because we all know this is something that affects your mental psyche. And as we've discussed this in the last couple of days, I'm getting to know Johnny very well. We had this conversation about, how you endure that initially. So what would you say?
I would say that second opinions are really where it's at. Definitely, you want to be loyal to your healthcare professionals because you want to feel like, this person's really taking me to a place that, I need to go. But depending, of course, on your goals,
Great.
It may not be where it is that you want to go, and I think we need to be goal oriented.
Cosi, he said getting a PT like Cosi would have been the big thing. So I gotta say what he actually said.
Well,
No, I'm
well,
getting on
well, listen, no, that's
it was part
included.
of our conversation.
That's
So,
definitely included,
yeah.
no doubt about it. But when I say that, to get a second opinion, I mean with every person in that support system you need.
Absolutely.
Pain management, same thing, no different, and pain management can be really challenging, especially if you're being prescribed opioids for phantom limb pain, and you'll get to a point where it's like, it's still not working, but I'm starting to feel like I have an addiction here, that I have a challenge now that is not working and I need to get off of it. And with opioids, it takes time to get off of them,
Interesting. Cosi, we've done shows on the phantom pain and things that you can address and different aspects of this. So that's interesting, very interesting. So
And
well, I was really glad that I was able to get my point across to my pain management doctor because look, let's face it, those opioids really do affect your ability to push.
and to function in daily life. And then just going on that second opinion, it's getting a second opinion is going to tell you one of two things. One, that your original provider is on the right track and you can have faith in what they're doing with you. Or two, the obvious that the original provider is not doing what's needed and you have a different point of view and different options available. We've got Sharon here that says, was yours a sarcoma? I am a 23-year epithelioid sarcoma survivor. Congrats to us.
Yes, it was, Sharon. Synovial sarcoma for me. It was a tumor that started growing in my left foot in between my big toe and the next toe to it. And it wasn't until the tumor got to be 4.5 centimeters when it started growing into my arch of my foot.
Ow.
Fortunately, it wasn't 5, so I didn't have to have anything more than just an amputation.
I was just going to ask you that if you had to have chemo or any follow-up therapy after that.
No, and I'm so glad to, because let's face it, mentally and, with the phantom limb pain and everything, I had enough to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
So 19 years later, we can say, yeah, it all worked out. It was a good
Yeah.
thing, I made it.
that is pretty amazing. Getting your healthcare team together is so important. I took from what Johnny said here. Cosi and I, we've talked about in past shows, having your prosthetist, your PT, your physicians all on the same page for the most, perfect outcome we can create. So that's what I took away from what you just said, and I think that's really interesting. And
and it's not just any PT, right, Cosi? I mean,
Right.
let's face it,
It's
we all have our specialties. And
Or any prosthetist. For any prosthetist, Johnny, out of curiosity, how many prosthetists have you had
That's
in
a
your
very
18
good question.
years as an amputee?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So there was one that was referred to me at the hospital that got me started with my first,
Right.
right? And then I needed to get closer to home and, not have to go back to work to New York City. I have to say that there was some post-traumatic stress I had to deal with, and it got triggered going back down to New York City because that's where I had my surgery and everything. So I was glad to find a local person, but unfortunately my local person may not have had the same experience level and the credentials and everything. He was certified, but, there was also the recommendation for a physiatrist because of the phantom limb pain. And, there was an aroma too that was starting and everything. And it was like, well, I'm not really sure, we can get you started or anything. So I had to go to somebody else, you know what I mean? Because I needed a leg. So along came leg 2 and different prosthetists. So we're up to leg 2, different prosthetists. And, that was good for, a little while. And then it was time to change again. So I was up to my 3rd prosthetist, and that was a trip back down to the city, somebody with a lot of experience and everything. And it was like, now, am I getting what I need for that 2-hour drive back and forth? And am I feeling a really good, strong connection? Cosi, I wasn't, and it definitely was not making sense. So once again, it was time for Johnny to look for somebody else that maybe things might be different. And sure enough, the next person was definitely different. And so I was able to stay with that person for quite a long time.
And it took like about 5 or 6 or 7 prosthetists by my count. This is something
Oh, I'm
that.
not done yet, Cosi.
Oh, you're not done?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
more. But folks, this is what you need to see, is that this is very normal in the
Right.
recovery process, where people get stuck on the one prosthetist or the one physical therapist that they get assigned by their insurance company, and they think that's it, that this is my only option.
Yeah, well, I had a loyalty thing going on with that process. And, I really thought that, this was the one, and, I could stay with them and everything. But then came the need to do more, and, before I go to that place, I just want to also mention how important that peer support was to my recovery. And I mean, it was huge.
That was going to be my question, Johnny.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and everybody who's out there, I don't know if we have new amputees or seasoned amputees like myself, but having your peer support and people you can talk to, having these shows sponsored by VitalFit are amazing, because you can learn, you can meet Johnny. We become great friends. We'll always be friends till, well, he's going to live to 100. I'll be gone way before that. But it is so important for,
I don't believe that at all.
I'm a lot younger, kidding. Having peer support and having people you can ask questions to, and what's working for you, and the knowledge of your prosthetist. This is a story I've heard a lot with my 25 years in prosthetics, is you have to have somebody that will listen to you and encourage you and be up on technologies and give you what you need to do, or maybe it's find somebody else. I've always kind of been a little negative to say, hey, there's a great guy in Seattle, but you live in New York. That's probably not the reason to go, because trying to get an adjustment, or if you break something, it just becomes more of a problem. So local's better. That couple hour window really is a lot less damaging on mental psyche, like Johnny said. So peer support. Tell us more.
Now, wait, before I'm gonna call timeout.
Okay, Coach, you're right. Do that.
We're gonna do a giveaway, because
sorry.
the peer support deserves its attention and full flesh out. But before we do that, we're gonna hit some people up with a giveaway.
All right, this is where I come in. Okay, so Jamie is going to post in the chat box a link, and the first person to go to that link, come back and type in the name of the person on the first testimonial gets that fabulous travel kit with 4 very generous portions of each of the products.
Which I'm using now for this trip. And
right on. Travel is, that's exactly, it's perfect. And you can check it in on the plane. We love that. But again, a very generous portion of each product, so you can check them out. Travel with them. If you're new to VitalFit, it's an awesome way to try the products. All righty, there we have it. Kay Levinson. So Tara, congratulations.
Wow.
You are the winner of the travel kit. Woo! Thank you. Right on.
I'm curious. Good. Have
Kay's
you
on
ever
here
tried-
too. I think Kay's on here.
Yeah.
He's like,
Is she on here? Hi, Kay.
Okay.
Yeah. Is she on there?
Love you, Kay.
Johnny's running the mouse right
Yes,
here for her.
she is.
She's there. Hi, Kay.
there. Oh, that's
so-
funny. So Johnny, have you had to use, I'm imagining you had to use liquid to powder during this trip, during your ski trip.
I use it all the time.
Okay. I was like, I know for ski, if we're running and for skiing, you're gonna have to load up on that liquid to powder lotion, and it's good. You've been
No.
using it to the.
It's really a great, resource in my toolkit for being an athlete. Absolutely. No doubt.
No doubt about it.
Glad it's there.
This week I'm putting him through the ringer here, because I don't know if you heard it earlier. I'm challenging him to challenge himself, but it's warm on the hill. We're creating a lot of friction. We're up on sock management, but boy, I haven't heard him say anything about sweat and irritation or anything. So yes, liquid to powder has just been his.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, just to add to that, the only thing that I've had to do is just add ply, that's about it,
Right.
because when you're pushing your residual limb down as much as we do as we ski, you're
Mhm.
gonna need to add a ply, and so.
So that's an interesting question you
keep
brought up.
working at it.
Again, sock management is a big thing when it comes to any sport. If you're wearing a prosthesis, the demands on your skin. Let me ask you that. So Johnny, and everybody who doesn't know Johnny, cyclist, runner, kayaker, skier, parachutist. I don't know what that does for your skin, but when you land, there's impact. I parachute a lot. But all these different things, it's been demanding. I know you found VitalFit because we initially talked. I know you would watch Cosi's show, and for me, and this initially, then we'll go back to your story. I have to ask the question now. it's been a tremendous change for you, for outcomes. I haven't heard him say one thing about his residual limb hurting, and I'm not skiing him slow this week. So, question, answer?
I'd say personally, again, to have a resource like the VitalFit suite of products to be able to be committed to, I mean, to be part of my daily routine, it's great. It's really great. And, I can see where this will remain a part of my life until I turn 100 or after that, let's face it.
Maybe 101 or 2.
Maybe,
Where you look.
maybe.
Yeah,
But at any
you
rate,
guys fit.
I'm glad I have it as part of, my resource kit. It's great to have it on board. And,
Good.
thank you,
So-
VitalFit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cosi.
No, I was gonna say,
I'm
tell
like, want to hear more of the story, I'm
Yes,
like,
I want to hear more about the peer support that you're, because I know there's a lot of folks that are here that are on View My Show and they ask about it. So tell us
Well,
about that.
All I can say is today, more than ever, there's a lot of peer support that's out there virtually. Yeah, it's not the same as face-to-face, And sure, I would love to, see the Cosi talk show face-to-face, but it has to start someplace. And for me, it didn't start as fast as it should have. It should have started in the hospital. I should have had somebody come to me in the hospital and say, Johnny, listen, there is life after limb loss, So I had my amputation in March. It took till about maybe November, December, something like that, to
Wow.
start to get plugged in with peer support. But fortunately for me, I don't mind traveling, so I would go down to New York City for a very, thriving amputee support group that had a gentleman as a facilitator of the group that was not only a facilitator of the group, but he was also a board member for the Amputee Coalition. Well, I got to meet him. He encouraged me about starting my own support group. I thought I wasn't ready yet, and I was looking for somebody else to facilitate, but I ended up having to be the facilitator of my local amputee support group, which I started. And before that happened, I was like checking out other people's amputee support groups and seeing how they ran them. And, there were some AKs that told me that I really wasn't an amputee because I was a BK.
it wasn't
right?
me.
Yeah, right. But it was fun. And to watch people that were more challenged than I was thriving was very, very empowering. So, in my opinion, how you get your peer support, whether it's virtually, having a buddy, over the phone that you might need through a referral through the Amputee Coalition, whatever the case might be, and again, today more than ever, you're going to find a lot of virtual amputee support groups that are going to be out there that are going to really be good to connect with. My journey continued with the Amputee Coalition as a regional representative for the New England states. And, I really started to make more and more connections, start to meet a few adaptive sports organizations too, that I started to connect with. Johnny V wasn't quite ready to be an athlete at that particular point. I did try a couple of things that didn't turn out to be as favorable as today, but I'm just thankful that I didn't give up, and that it was still in the back of my mind that it was possible to do more than what I perceived, pushing past perceived limitations.
That's
But
awesome.
it really was all through the networking that I did with peer support, because, we all need to have our mentors, and we need to have someone to look up to help us, like Greg here, an AK athlete, that you should see him cut the snow up with his skis. I mean, it's like, I cannot keep up with this guy, but I'm going to try anyway.
Good luck.
Well, God love you for trying, because Johnny, he's gone 100 miles an hour downhill on snow with one leg. He's
Yeah.
39 miles an hour. Yes.
100 miles an hour. Yeah,
Not with your hair on fire.
right. Right. I just want to shout out to Carol. Carol, yes, it is. It's not normal. I'm absolutely not normal. That is the first that I've ever heard of the liquid power clumping. So off the cuff, I'm thinking less is more. But if you wouldn't mind taking a picture of my contact information at the end, what I'd like to do, if you're comfortable with it, I'd like to reach out with you and talk about that. And because I'm super transparent, most people know. I've never heard that before. So I would love, love, love to talk to you.
And then
I
the
have
only
a
thing I
question
can add to that, Carol, is sometimes if you put too much on in the beginning, it really doesn't take a whole lot. And that's one of the reasons why I like this liquid to powder, is because it's never clumped on any of my patients. So thin layer, let it dry. And if you have to reapply, that part is normal, especially if you're playing golf or if you're running, having to reapply some more in those trouble spots.
And the dry is critical. It must be absolutely dry before you
Dry.
don the light or this prostheses. But if that doesn't, if we haven't covered it, just please give me a call, okay?
One of the things
Great.
I
Sorry,
love
Johnny.
about the product is that, it gets absorbed into my skin so quickly. It doesn't take much, and it's just, I'm using my hands to rub it in,
And it's in, yeah.
and my residual lymph is dry, but I have it in there. It's the same thing with all the products. So.
Pretty amazing
You know,
product.
here in Florida, it's humid all year, and it's one of the few lotions that will soak in, even in the summertime, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, a question on that clumping. I have a question. Is that coming off the top of the bottle? Because if you get a little too much out, what I've seen is it'll dry on the cap, and then when you open it, it's almost like there's some dry clumps there. So just be aware it's not lingering on the where it's dispensed, especially if you have the large bottles. I've seen that, but it's no big deal. If you just add liquid to powder to that hard and dried product, it'll just reabsorb and then you can apply it. So I haven't heard that either from anybody, but and I'm looking at the chat, it looks like it hasn't been a problem for many. So just be aware that it can dry if it's in the cap time of year and stuff.
And then
I'd like to wrap up peer support if I could, and then we can move on to our next giveaway.
Great.
So currently I will participate in as many virtual amputee support groups as I possibly can. And I don't care where they're located. Because for me, it's not only about what I can learn, but it's also about what I can do, And Cosi, I include your show as a support group. I do. Because we're there to help each other and ask questions and see if we can learn from each other. So again, there's nothing wrong with belonging to as many amputee support groups, because you make a lot of friends that way, and you've got a lot of resources to take full advantage of as a result. So,
That's right.
Yep.
Good. Fantastic.
we have a question from John asking, do you have residual limb pain?
I don't have residual limb pain on the norm. I just have, phantom limb pain, neuropathic pain as a result of the neuroma. Fortunately, the neuroma hasn't been bothering me for a while.
Not good.
Oh, good. Good.
Especially considering what I've been putting it through lately, So,
and that's a great question though too, because the demand that some, all sports, not just alpine skiing, puts on your residual limb, it can stimulate it. So I think again, it drops into another product of this product line for VitalFit, who's sponsoring this, is you can calm your skin down at night with the night cream. So we can go there, but I haven't heard Johnny talk too much since I've been with him 2 days now about any residual limb pain, but it does exist. So great question.
I could experience it, if something were to come about where, I did more than I should. I think residual limb pain might come as a result of not doing the proper ply maintenance. If you're not maintaining proper ply, or you have an ill-fitting socket, you will have residual limb pain. I mean, also, if you go to the point where, Greg, listen, it's time to call it a day. Let's call it a day now. Okay?
What? No, and I agree 100% with Johnny saying. There's a lot of things that contribute to it. That overtraining, sock ply is a big one. There's a little thing, and unfortunately, it's what happens with amputees. We've had all this anatomy cut, and it's something that I hate to say that we, may have to live with, but there's ways that Cosi and I have talked to forever to try to address these situations, and there's all kinds of good stuff. So, all I can say with that is follow Cosi, because she does a lot of shows on TMR, all different aspects of things that can prevent this or reduce it. So think about that. It's a great thing. to really, that's a great question, excuse me. So,
But self-advocacy is the way to go, let's face it.
Right,
And-
right.
And support groups are self-advocacy, you know, it's,
that's right.
you know, wanting better in your life. You have to really be passionate about that.
You're
The more you can learn, the better.
he's an
It's
example of this with all the things he's doing. So
just even in when I started practicing 20 years ago, nothing of this existed. There were no resources for amputees. Can we call a social worker to maybe get a psychology consult? And that's basically it. There wasn't anything. And I've heard many people, like, you know, probably both of you can attest to this, is, you know, how many other amputees did you get to meet, period? Much less support group during that time.
that's great. That's a good point, Cosi, because, you know, I was injured 41 years ago. I've been walking with the prostheses. And back then it was like, I had a beautiful carved wood leg. I wish I still had that. But here's the wooden prostheses, and say la vie, there was an amputee support. So what Johnny's saying today, I mean, it's amazing what's offered out there virtually by Google, by companies who really, by PTs like Cosi, that really pursue to see patients and outcomes are the best. So Google's a great one. And guys like Johnny who get inspired by this because he didn't experience it in his first, you know, few years after amputation. This man's in, I don't know, 10 different support groups and a leader.
Fortunately, it was only months, you know, less than a year.
Excuse me, sorry.
But the most important thing was that I did go out there.
Right.
And I was looking, you know, and that I made sure that, you know, I need to take care of me. And so through the networking and sharing and everything, it really worked. I think it's time again, folks.
I know we can go on. I already said 1 hour. We're never going to get through it. So.
No. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We're on it. Okay, for the second giveaway this evening, another fabulous travel kit. Cosi, please man it for us. 4 of the products, a very generous size. So, folks, please go to the link that you see there and look for the first name of the webinar. Abbreviated version is fine. This is really important to us. Cosi, Greg, amazing support from AC support group leaders to make these webinars possible. And they're all on there. So if you've missed previous ones or you'd like to go back and check another one out, please share them with colleagues and other individuals. Again, we've talked so much about how important the support is and to have that. So all of our webinars, past, present, etc., are there. So get moving. God love John. You got it.
There you go, John.
Okay. John. Oh, I'm not supposed to say your last name. Dang it. Sorry. Okay, we'll edit that out. Congratulations. Oh, one day I'll get these right. Congratulations.
Good. Yeah, John, if you've never used the product too, you can always go to VitalFit.com and look at those explanations on product usage, and the products go a long way. So overuse on liquid to powder, you know, I always say a dime-sized dab will do you. So just be aware that the resources there if you've never seen the product. So good job on that. So power of peer support has been huge in your rehabilitation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me more about after you've kind of got your head together, prosthetics are working, what happened next?
Well, let's face it, you know, in life, there's always going to be something else, right? There always is. And so, you know, things started coming up. I was in a troubled marriage, you know, and so that unfortunately had to end, you know, and how it impacted the fact that I had a daughter and everything. So that was tough. That was really, really tough. Then having to face cancer diagnosis again, you know, 2 times. What's going on here, Johnny V? Why are you having cancer, you know? And then along with that, you know, prior to, you know, my job of 30 years told me, hey, listen, it's been real, but we don't need you anymore, you know? Time for you to be retired. So like all this, you know, happening, and it was like, geez, I had it tough already. Why more? Why more? So, of course, you know, you have to look at the positives, you know, and the positives were, 1, I got the diagnosis for cancer and I was able to address it again, you know. Number 2, if marriage doesn't work out, it's okay, even though religiously and everything, that's what I was taught and everything, but health-wise, let's face it, in relationships, you don't want to be in bad relationships, because it's not good for you. It's not healthy, it's not going to feel good about yourself, And so the retirement that I didn't plan turned out to be okay. And the reason why it turned out to be okay is gave me time to be more focused on myself, of what I needed. So what I did, I focused on myself. I went to go see a nutritionist because I wanted to up my game as far as what I was putting into my body. And I knew that that would take me to the next step, which would be activity level, increase your activity level. So once again, being an amputee and being connected with the social groups that I was connected with, amputee support groups, I heard about this group that was doing a camping trip out here in Colorado, and it was around the time that I turned 60, and I said, yeah, this looks great. I think I would have some fun with that, and there might be some challenges that I will face as a result of going on this camping trip, We had a great time, we connected, and, it was a great outcome. And I found out about an organization called No Barriers, okay? I don't know if many of you out there have heard of this group, this wonderful not-for-profit organization that has a No Barriers Summit every year, but it actually leads you to adaptive sports programs and opportunities, and individuals of all different abilities. We're not just talking about limb loss here, but there are some pretty amazing people out there. There's this guy, Kyle, who's been climbing mountains that, he's missing his arms, his hands are out there, he's got stuff, on his arms. He's a double above knee amputee, and the guy was amazing. And to be able to connect with those people live, face to face at these summits was like so empowering. And one of the wonderful things about these organizations is they come up with these catchphrases like, what's within you is stronger than what's in your way. That, really start to think about that, and it's telling you how important self-advocacy really is, and how powerful the mind is too, because let's face it, we come up with our own limitations, and it's about pushing past those perceived limitations that make it possible for us to do some of the things that we do. Even if it's just a one time, if it's something that's on your bucket list, whether it be jumping out of a plane, and experiencing that, or, anything else that might seem silly at the time. But if you're doing it with a bunch of other amputees on a particular event that you signed up for, then it really becomes like a fun bonding experience that you say, hey, yeah, I probably would do it then, but it's not high on my priority list because there's so much else that I could do, there's so many other things. So this whole mindset that I got from the No Barriers movement, of setting yourself into a mode of not what I can't do, but what I can do, or let's put our trust in some of these amazing people that do adaptive sports. Why don't we, say, listen, you're in charge, Greg. Take me to that place, I think you could probably show me a few things, putting my trust in Greg and saying, Greg, are you sure that I can do that black slope?
Right.
Yeah. But there are some amazing people out there that I have put my trust into, that have taken me to that place, and I would say adversity only made me stronger, to give me that will, to experience more of a life, I had this guy in my life at a point where, he was one of my mentors, and he called me up all the time and he said, hey, Johnny, you hear that? That's opportunity knocking. And I will never forget that until the day that I die. That opportunities are knocking all over the place. They truly are. And it's whether or not we're open to receiving those opportunities, going after them, it's like anything else. The more that you put into something, the more effort that you put into more of yourself, you know, the more you make it a priority in your life. I mean, Greg, let's face it, you know, if you didn't have that desire growing, you know, after you lost your at age 19, and you said that you wanted to do more. I mean, look, let's face it, you wouldn't be where you
I
are
agree.
today. It wouldn't have excelled you to the place that you are right now.
I agree. And I think what I take away with what you're saying, sports enabled you to do things that when you experience limb loss, you maybe never dreamed you could do. But you're a prime example that there's everything, try it all, and it's going to build you up. It's going to create some extreme self-esteem that always helps on your outcome. And I think I see that in Jay, that he's out trying everything, because not only he loves it, he's an athlete, he's actually listening to me and following me on stuff that I'm just like, dude, this
I
is
got a
how
lot
you
of
gotta.
great advice on this.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
That's right. So, but having that peer, it goes back to peer support. I think what I'm hearing, and having people and having an opportunity to talk and share experiences, it will always increase your ability to do. And you're saying about the bilateral amputee, it's uplifting for me to work with patients and people who have experienced all these different issues. And it's just what I see that sports bring and peer brings is motivation. And that's what I see in Johnny. So, and it's interesting that all this you're doing in love and life today is all about bettering, open up your mind, don't feel sorry, let's do more, let's challenge ourselves. And you're a prime example of it.
It became a good addiction. It really
Right, it's a
did, you
good,
know?
exactly.
I mean, you know, it was just when you have an appetite for something, right? Or as you develop an appetite for something. I mean, to this day, I just look back, never thought I'd be where I am today. I never really did. And it was a magazine called Challenge at the time, now Move United, that had an opportunity for a clinic for vets. And it was in New England. That wasn't that far, you know, Mount Sunapee in New Hampshire. And there was a deadline in 2 days, you know, and I had to fill out this application and get it in play, you know, and get my primary care physician to sign off on it, everything, and ask her, could you please fax it to the number, because I'm really on this deadline, you know, and I really want to make this happen. And then starting on the bunny slopes, you know, and starting, you know, on the magic carpet, and you know what they were until I took this clinic. And then again, having those awesome adaptive ski instructors that gave me the inspiration, the courage that it was something I could do, you know?
You know what I'm hearing, I think skiing is favorite sport, I think, like mine, you know, and what's really interesting, he's diverse himself in all different sports, and which is motivating to try things. And that's what I'm for Johnny's tricycling, all the things that you maybe think you never could do, and you're going to find one that really shines for you. And skiing is it for me. It sounds like he's a skier now. So, but you know, it's one of that. It's just alpine sports are one of the. If you're used in prosthetic view, I always used to say it was a slow-moving world before we had the technology and the personnel and the professionals involved that see outcomes like Johnny excel. But I was always like, for me, it was a sport that I could go fast to with my friends, my family, my peers, and it created a lot of positive stuff. And I'm hearing it from him. So I don't know, maybe skiing is going to be the number one. But
I think it already is. You know,
yeah,
and I'll tell you, honestly, the reason why is because I've excelled as far as I have in the 5 years that I've been doing it. That year one was 2017, and here we are, you know, 2021. I'm still doing it, and I keep getting better. You know,
so all the sports have increased your mental positive attitude. You become this peer support guy. Thing you're doing, I'm going to revert back. I asked you today, the demands that's on your prosthetists, your components, your limb, your PTs. What I'm hearing you say is you're engaged with everybody and looking to see your outcome as number one. So I guess what I take from Johnny, what's so motivating for me, for him, is remember you're number one. You're experiencing all these different issues. If you're a new amputee now or whatever it is, but take hold of your future. And that's what John's done here. So
And
pretty amazing. You know?
it definitely was the adversities, though, you know, that put me into that place. I don't think I'd be living the life that I'm in today without those adversities that pushed me, you know, to be able to reach for those resources that made me who I am today. And I'm not the same person I was prior to my amputation. And by pushing myself and making me feel good about myself to do the things that I did on this journey, you know, has affected me in a very positive way as a person. You know, it's changed my DNA, let's face it. You know, the people that, you know, came to my life on this journey, and, you know, Greg, you know, the ones that took me a little bit further along. Looking forward to going skiing with that first skiing instructor. I am really looking forward to showing her that this is where you helped Johnny get, you know. I think it would be so cool.
And then the perspective that goes with it, whether, and excuse the expression, whether you've had your butt handed to you by limb loss or cancer or both, you know, the perspective that gives you that push to do all of those things and overcome the adversity, because it's basically like, well, survive limb loss. So yeah, I think I can go try this new sport. Survive limb loss. Yeah, I think I can go try skiing. You know, it just falls, it kind of strips away some of that fear that you may have had prior. And what you said, Johnny, you are not the same person that you were before. And that's a huge part that I see a lot of my own patients struggle.
Cosi, got to say, you hit it right on the head. And I asked John when he first came here yesterday, I go, what do you really want to get through this week and learn? Obviously, you know, become better skier and skiers, better stuff. But you just said it, and he told me, you know, did you hear?
It was our goal yesterday, right?
Oh, that's right.
And the goal was, you know, Greg, what I'm looking forward to, you know, today, that was yesterday, and it ran into today as well, was that I wanted to overcome my fear so that I can become a better skier. Because I know that through my fear, it's what's going to hold me back from being a better skier. It's going to get in the way of me being able to think more positive about what it is that I'm supposed to do and what it is that what fear affects that you would end up doing.
Right. And that's not just being, that's life as an amputee, as a disabled, whatever. You can hold you back. Here's a good thing to be safe, but it was just, you said that, Cosi, because I asked him yesterday, what's our goal here? And he was going yesterday at 10,500 vertical, today 12,500 vertical feet. And I think what, 37 today, 30, he was good faster yesterday. But tomorrow I'm like, okay, we're going to clock it and see if we can get him up to like 60 or something. But again, I think good point, is it's overcoming the fear, not being afraid of challenges and challenge yourself. And that's this man, what he has done in his journey here. So
well, and to what Richard said, it all comes home there. Mindset is so very important. And I think that sums things up wonderfully.
yeah.
And John has a question. Johnny, you mentioned phantom pain. How does this materialize?
So phantom pain is a direct result of the amputation. And what happens is the nerve endings, you know, that used to be connected to, you know, the anatomy of your body are now disconnected. You know, they don't know where to go and what to do. And so I was faced with it pretty early on, and you know, I went through some therapy modalities, you know, trying to nip it in the butt. But you know, once again, you know, the busier that I keep, the better I sleep at night. You know, the more I'll get through the night. And you know, if I wake up and I got those pins and needles going that are keeping me from going back to sleep and everything, you know, once again, it's, you know, I got to get myself in a better place and you know, push through it and go back to sleep, because sleep's so important. You know, it's a healing factor. So I believe it's the power of my mind that gets me back to sleep. And so yeah, it materializes as a result of the amputation. It's so fun. A lot of people suffer from it, and you know, I just have learned, without medication therapy, you know, because, you know, I've had enough of that and the side effects to go along with it, I'm able to overcome it through, you know, distraction.
Distraction is what you said today to me when we were having this conversation. So great question. Do something that distracts the pain. I think Cosi and I, we talked about this on a show a while ago, is I have experienced phantom pain too. And I'm like, okay, if I just go for a walk, I know the first 200 steps are going to hurt maybe, but all of a sudden how blue the sky is, or watching my animals, my dogs run for the ball or chase a bunny, I don't feel it. So I think, Johnny, you hit it on the head yesterday. I asked him the same question. He's like, a student else, so good question, I think.
Thinking of doing something else, Chris, is it that time again?
It is almost. I just want to shout out to Paula, who she got to take 4 kids herself and a quad amputee skiing a couple of weeks ago. Paula, you're awesome.
Yep.
We love what you do.
Everybody smiling? Was everybody smiling at the end?
Yeah.
Yep. Good job.
Imagine. Thanks, Paula. Okay, our last giveaway for, oops. Oh, hold on.
Your turn.
Okay. She for a big
All right.
song?
Yeah.
We got them right here too.
All 4 products for 4 full size, our entire kit, the last giveaway. You see the link there. The first person to tell us an abbreviated title of our blog wins. So we have, God love Paul Dean, our founder, developer, owner. I just put in a big investment into articles and blogs to help the community on lots of topics, limb loss, diabetes. So please check this out on our site. We've got a lot of new articles. So the first person to tell us, and it can be abbreviated, the blog in there, first blog.
You're gonna have to guess. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
Sharon.
Boom.
Oh, there you
McGraw
go.
right there.
Okay.
McGraw.
Oh, sorry. Richard.
Rick
God,
got
we
that
should
correct.
go
Well, that
with
was
Richard.
simultaneous.
Okay. So folks, anybody that's won, it's important that you take a picture of my email address and send me your information. And Michelle, shout out to you. Thanks for she's like,
It was
I don't
like,
know, she's got like superhuman hands. I've never seen anybody like get in there, and she's won a few times. So bless your heart, Michelle. I appreciate you sharing
Well,
tonight.
Cosi has, because I've won on her show a bunch of times. Said, John, you gotta really take it easy. People are talking.
So congratulations on that.
yeah.
So we'll get to
Awesome. Yeah. Read those, everybody. VitalFit has amazing blog, and the strength and posture, the reduced lower back pain is just amazing. There's innovation in prosthetics. So it's a great resource for it. And it talks about every different aspect of training, different products. Yeah. But again, what I asked Johnny here, in the very end of all these things he does, the demand that's put on his residual limb, VitalFit's right?
Oh, it's been a big help. I'm glad to have it as, part of my daily routine, part of my daily ritual, It's in my bathroom, it's next to my bed. It's in my suitcase too, I'm acting ready to go, and I'm so glad it's there.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you, Johnny, so
Thank you,
much
Chris.
for being with us this evening. We really appreciate you just sharing your story, your life, your inspiration. God bless you. And Greg, Cosi, as always, thank you.
Hey.
So the next slide is going to be a discount code for all you folks that were kind enough to participate with us this evening. So if you use this, it's $10 off anything you purchase on the website. So please take a picture of that, write it down, and enjoy that.
I say just buy the 4-pack, and you'll be all set for quite a while.
Amen. God love you, John.
John was saying 10 weeks out of our snow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome stuff, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Cosi. Thanks, Chris, and Jamie, everybody at VitalFit. These informational podcasts are really helping a lot of people. It helps me. I'm motivated every time I get off meeting guys like Johnny. This is what we do. I know what Cosi's involved, why she loves to see outcomes optimized, and that's what happens here. So a great story, John. My pleasure. Inspiration.
It was a joy. It was a joy getting to chat with you today, Johnny.
Same here, Cosi.
Hey, I know her.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cosi.
I know her.
Take a picture of this, Cozy Talks, amazing show. Wednesdays, 8:30 Eastern, every Wednesday. Check it out.
What time is that
Everything,
here, Greg?
everything.
That'd be 6:30 here,
All right,
6:30.
all right, Coach, we'll try to make it.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be in. We're gonna ski
Yeah.
in Park tomorrow.
Y'all
So
need to be skiing. Y'all need to be skiing. Get tomorrow off.
And folks, this is my information on the right corner. Please make note, any questions, anything we can do. We've got a great team of passionate people and we're here for you. So please reach out if there's anything we can do. And don't forget, winners, send me an email and I will get you your giveaways. Appreciate everyone this evening.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. So glad I was able to share my story with you.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Johnny.
all right, everybody, have a great rest of your week.
Good night.
Yeah.